They're strapping you to the table right now. Zip ties cutting into your wrists, Kevlar rope around your chest. You're trying to stay calm, but your heart is racing because you know what comes next. The metronome starts clicking. 107 beats per minute. They draw 3 triangles on your stomach with a Sharpie. Someone places a dead mole under your head. 7 drops of blood hit your face. And then the doctor leans in close and whispers, "We'll see you in 222 years. This is SCP-9190, the surgery that sends you into the future. The procedure that the Foundation uses to deploy agents to the year 2247. You can't come back. You can't call for help. And if the operation fails, your soul gets trapped somewhere between now and then. Forever." They just sent Junior Researcher Maria Cortez forward. Today I'm showing you exactly what happened to her body. Subscribe, because what the Foundation discovered in 2247 changes everything we thought we knew about time travel. SCP-9190 is a surgical procedure, not an object, not a creature. A ritual disguised as medical science that physically transports your body 222 years into the future. The exact year 2247, always that year. Never earlier, never later, just 2247. The Foundation discovered this procedure through classified means. They won't say where it came from, who invented it, why it works. All they'll confirm is that it exists, and that they're using it right now, sending personnel forward to ensure the Foundation survives into the future. Here's how it works. Here's the exact ritual you undergo if you're selected for deployment. First, they place you on an operating table, standard surgical table, nothing special. But the room has to be prepared with specific items in specific positions. A metronome near your feet set to exactly 107 beats per minute. A circle of gunpowder traced around the table. A carcass of Talpa europaea, that's a European mole, placed beneath your head. And 7 drops of human blood applied to your face. These aren't random. The procedure fails if you deviate. 1 drop of blood too few, you arrive in 2247 missing parts of your body. Wrong metronome tempo, your consciousness arrives, but your body doesn't. No gunpowder circle, you arrive, but you're not quite solid, not quite real. Existing between states. The Foundation learned these rules through trial and error, through failures, through people who arrived wrong, who came back in pieces, who never arrived at all, but left screaming echoes in the timeline that personnel in 2247 can still hear. At Minute 5, you drink a mixture: dog milk, ground bismuth, cerebrospinal fluid, and salt water. The document says cerebrospinal fluid, but it doesn't specify whose. Human? Animal? They don't tell you. You just drink it, all of it, while your stomach is empty and cramping and you are already feeling sick from fear. The mixture tastes like copper and rot and something that shouldn't exist. Subjects report immediate nausea, vertigo, the feeling that their body is being pulled in directions that don't have names. Time isn't forward or backward or left or right, it's something else, something humans don't have words for. And you're about to travel through it. At minute 13, they restrain you. Zip ties on your wrists, Kevlar rope across your chest and legs. You can't move, can't escape. Subjects at this point become distressed, start asking questions. What does deployment actually mean? What happens to my body? Will I still be me when I arrive? The staff are instructed not to answer, because the answers would make you fight harder, would make containment impossible. So they just ignore your questions, tighten the restraints, and move to the next phase. 3 triangles are drawn on your stomach with black Sharpie, equilateral triangles, precise measurements. The points have to align with specific anatomical landmarks: your navel, your xiphoid process, your pubic symphysis. The triangles form a pattern, a sigil, something that looks almost religious, almost occult, because that's what this is. This isn't science. This is ritual. This is magic, dressed up in medical terminology so Foundation personnel who don't believe in the supernatural can participate without questioning. The metronome, the mole corpse, the blood, the symbols. This is a spell, and you're the component being cast forward. Then the actual surgery begins. Incisions are made. The document doesn't specify where or how deep, just says the first incision as if there's only one. But subjects who've undergone preparation report seeing full surgical kits, scalpels, retractors, clamps. This isn't superficial. This is invasive. This is them opening you up and doing something to your insides that makes time recognize you as belonging to 2247 instead of now. Follow for the next part, because what happens during the actual cutting, what they remove from your body and what they put in, that's classified at a level most Foundation staff will never see. But I found the leaked surgical notes. And what they do to your organs is worse than you can imagine. The surgery takes approximately 4 hours. You're conscious the entire time. They can't use anesthesia. Anesthesia anchors you to the present, keeps you locked in now. You have to be awake, have to feel every cut, every manipulation, every moment of them restructuring your temporal signature. And then it happens. The moment of deployment. You don't fade, you don't dissolve. You just stop existing in the present. 1 second, you're on the table screaming. The next second, the table is empty. The restraints are still closed, still shaped around where your body was. But you're gone. Forward. 222 years forward. To the year 2247. The staff in the present don't know if it worked. They won't know for 222 years. They just send you forward and hope. Hope you arrive. Hope you arrive intact. Hope you arrive as yourself and not as something the journey changed into something else. Junior Researcher Maria Cortez volunteered for SCP-9190. The file shows her signing consent forms, undergoing psychological evaluation, being cleared for deployment. The video log shows her on the table, shows the preparation, shows the consumption phase where she drinks the mixture and immediately vomits, shows them cleaning her mouth and making her drink it again. At minute 7, she asks to be reminded what deployment entails, what actually happens. The staff don't answer, just continue the procedure. At minute 13, she's restrained. She's crying now, begging them to explain, begging them to tell her if she'll still exist, if she'll still be Maria when she arrives. They ignore her. The surgery begins at minute 18. The video shows the first incision, shows her screaming, and then the video cuts. Redacted. 40 minutes of footage removed. Classified. When the video resumes at minute 58, Maria is still screaming. But the screaming sounds wrong. Sounds like it's coming from multiple directions at once. Like she's screaming from the present and from the future simultaneously. Like she's being pulled apart across time and her voice is stretching with her. At hour 3, minute 42, she stops screaming, stops moving. The vital monitors show her heart rate dropping, breathing slowing, and then at exactly hour 4, she vanishes. The restraints snap closed. The table is empty. Maria Cortez no longer exists in the present. But here's the twist. Here's what the Foundation doesn't want you to know. They sent her to 2247, but we're not at 2247 yet. We won't be for 222 years. So where is Maria right now? She's not in the present, but she hasn't arrived in the future yet. She's tween, traveling, existing in the space between seconds, between years, between moments. For Maria, the journey is instantaneous. She closes her eyes in 2025 and opens them in 2247. But for time itself, she's in transit, trapped in the journey. Her consciousness suspended. Her body moving forward 1 second at a time, 1 year at a time. Aging, experiencing, aware but unable to act. The Foundation won't confirm this. They say the transit is instant, but leaked documents suggest otherwise. Suggest that subjects arrive in 2247 with memories of the journey. With trauma from experiencing 222 years of isolation, of existing between moments, of being aware but unable to move or speak or interact with anything. Just consciousness, just thought, just the slow realization that you're trapped. and you're going to be trapped for centuries before you arrive. And you can't die during transit. Your body is locked in the moment of deployment, frozen. You don't age, don't starve, don't suffocate. You just exist, aware, thinking, slowly going insane. That's what they don't tell you when you volunteer. That's what Maria is experiencing right now, has been experiencing since her deployment, will continue experiencing until 2247. 222 years of solitary confinement inside your own frozen body. So why? Why does the Foundation use SCP-9190? Why send people forward if the journey is torture? Because the future needs them. The document says this procedure is used to enforce the presence of the Foundation within periods of time that would otherwise lead to the Foundation ceasing to exist. The Foundation knows something, knows that without intervention they don't survive past a certain point. So they're sending agents forward, deploying personnel to the future to ensure continuity, to make sure the Foundation exists when it arrives there. But what happens in the timeline that makes this necessary? What event occurs that threatens the Foundation's existence so severely that they torture their own personnel with centuries of isolation just to have bodies present in 2247? The deployment schedule gives us a clue. They're not sending people randomly, they're sending them to exactly 2247, that specific year. Why that year? What happens in 2247 that requires Foundation presence? I found cross-references in classified files. Other SCPs connected to the year 2247, SCP-2000, the time loop, SCP-3711, the containment breach that spans decades, and most terrifying, SCP-5000, the entity that arrives in 2247 and starts changing reality backwards, rewriting history, making the present different retroactively. The Foundation is sending personnel forward to fight something in 2247, something that threatens to erase them from the timeline entirely. And Maria Cortez is one soldier in that war, experiencing 222 years of psychological torture just to arrive at the battle. Subscribe because next video I'm revealing what SCP-5000 actually is. The entity that's coming in 2247, the thing that the Foundation is so desperate to stop that they're willing to destroy their own personnel's minds just to have boots on the ground when it arrives. And the leaked documents suggest it's not coming from the future. It's already here, already changing things, already rewriting reality. And we just haven't noticed yet because the changes are subtle. Small, but growing. Hit that like button if this gave you existential dread. And remember, if Foundation personnel ever approach you about volunteering for experimental procedures, ask them specifically about SCP-9190. Ask them about the journey time. Ask them what subjects experienced during transit. And when they refuse to answer, when they tell you it's classified, that's your confirmation. That's your proof that the journey is hell. And you should run.